So the question for all of us is, can we create a simpler tax system for today's modern families? And can we do it in a way that's fair and equitable? Well, we have a wonderful panel of experts to answer these questions for us this afternoon.
Income volatility makes filing a tax return correctly difficult, and for low-income families, income volatility may make it extremely difficult to predict or understand the largest financial transaction that they may have each year, which is their tax refund. So the challenge for tax reformers, of course, is figuring out how can the IRS effectively recognize the complications that come with income volatility and how they play out in taxes owed. And so I would beg people, when you're thinking about tax reform, if you're going to think about how you tax working families and you're going to provide substantial benefits to the tax code, you try and step back and think about what do these families actually look like and how can we make it so these programs can have their biggest impact on people by making it easy for them to predict what are the tax benefits going to be and how can we make them the most stable possible.
Let's just look at the tax reform proposal that's out there right now, the House GOP plan. The big focus of that plan is to increase the economic efficiency of the tax code, so it brings marginal rates way down, but then at the same time broadens the tax base. And adding in additional child benefits would likely come at the expense of some of the rate reductions or other reforms that are already built into the tax plan as is. The structure of your proposal matters a great deal to who benefits from the policy and how much revenue it ends up losing as part of your tax reform proposal. And the last point I want to make about family tax policy and tax reform is that if you want to address this or address family tax policy or expand the role of the tax code in family tax policy, and this is going to reduce revenue, you have to take base broadeners very seriously in your tax reform. Otherwise, you're going to have to give up on a significant number of other priorities.
My second legislative recommendation was for simplification of the family status provisions in the Internal Revenue Code. So that's sort of really the point of what I'm proposing, is to get try to find easier ways for the IRS to look at existing data and really determine, where does the child live for most of the year? Do we really care about all these relationship stuff as long as we know the child exists, that only one person is claiming this child? And, people can work it out among themselves who should claim the child.
We've got to re-involve the IRS in the tax simplification process by requiring the service to produce an annual report on sources of complexity in the tax code. Another recommendation that the Commission on Restructuring the IRS made was that we have a quadrennial simplification process. That can help to clean out the tax code and have a direct impact upon families. Establishing these processes and making tax simplification habitual rather than haphazard will be vital to the success of any future tax reform bill. There are other smaller but equally important things we need to do. We need to be concerned about the IRS's ability to handle everyday taxpayer concerns. If we're going to give families the confidence in the tax system, the ease of compliance, we're going to have to think about these details well beyond defining rates and the tax base.